And them here. This is Boom Boom, aka World Boom, the Billboard selector. And I represent for Ryan LFC. To get the latest Reggae Boyz content, just hit that like and subscribe button. And the Operation Ball Game, I say, knock it, Ryan.
President of the FA, Danny Beckford, recently labelled the football to be at its lowest point under the current JFF administration, and he criticised the parish presidents for their lack of vision and foresight for the crippling state of football. In fact, Danny has been saying for quite some time now that many of the other parish FA presidents are really wimps and cowards, and we'll hear a lot more from him. And of course, the recent Don Anderson RGR Gleaner poll says the JFF should not be credited for the Reggae Girlz qualification and should be blamed for the Reggae Boyz failed World Cup campaign. So we have Danny Beckford now joining us live. Danny, good afternoon and welcome to Sports Grill once again.
Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, dear listeners.
Yes, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I went to the real far today again. It was such an experience, man.
Yes, I've been having quite a bit of rain across the island since last weekend. Hope that everyone is staying safe. But Danny, look here now. You've been saying a lot in recent days, in fact, for months, and you've continuously blasted other FA presidents. You've said they're cowards. They're afraid to speak out. And a couple of days ago, you said you felt like the lone voice in the wilderness because you've said this administration is really taking the football down. You said there is no GenSec. And the secretary to the GenSec has resigned. I found that quite humorous indeed. What have you heard from your other FA colleagues in recent days? Have you gotten any calls, any support for what you said recently?
Well, first of all, I believe that later. But first of all, the important thing is that when you reach rock bottom, the only way you can go is up. So we have vacillated for months and years in terms of getting the new statutes in place, and so we have been given 3 deadlines by FIFA to get certain things going. And I must tell you that there is the light at the end of the tunnel that shine. You can see it already. So the first deadline at the 30th of June, the JFF asked for an extension, and it was given to the 11th of July. So the revamped statutes from our side was sent to FIFA, and then FIFA last week sent back to us. And as a matter of fact, we had a marathon meeting a couple of nights ago to finalize the statutes thing. As a matter of fact, I'll drop asleep. So what it does is that in itself, when we get the statutes in place, and I must make a listeners know, we say, no longer this foolish, what you call it, political something, where you have 7 people support you, and you become a president, anybody in whatever. And to the vast majority of the football fraternity, not in it. So this revamp statute will bring in back people like referees and commissaries and the interest to ISA and all that.
Right, because what we had before was a template like that, and then we moved to the 13 parish presidents voting. So among the amendments now, we're going to widen the pool number of delegates again. How many delegates will we be looking at?
So we're looking at about 57. Yeah, right. Good. So the 57 persons vote for Spencer Darlington, and the majority vote for you. Then you can safely say it is more conducive to the things. What I can assure you, and this is what some of the times we fight for, is put back the thing where it is. And the football has been suffering just through this politics. Good. And I haven't gotten a call from 2 presidents call me, but and so and so and so. But the whole aspect of the thing is that everybody know what I'm saying is reality and the truth.
And let us backtrack, Danny, and bring our listeners up to speed with what you said recently. Let's just take a listen to this clip. Scott, are we ready?
Danny Beckford has been known to not mince words, and the controversial removal or the lack thereof issue of JFF General Secretary Dalton Wint has created problems for the Senate and FA president. Beckford, who sees himself as a lone voice in the wilderness, is mind-boggled that Wint is still officially in the position after an executive letter in June suggested he would walk away from the post.
Right now, we are operating without a secretariat. We don't have a secretary, the GenSec, and then the secretary to that secretary has resigned and moved on. So we're just marking time in this thing. And the worst thing about it, we know we are not to solve that secretarial problem because the secretary, as for all intents and purposes, not resign officially. So we limbo there.
The veteran administrator is calling for an urgent revision of the JFF voting statutes, which is down to 13 parish presidents.
And a lot of times people want point finger like it's troublemaker. No. I know they want to hear the trouble because we are in a serious situation. Administrative, we are in a serious situation. And some of us are here for is the glamour and the glitter, the traveling and the this. And say little by little, everything a fall a rock bottom. It's so not so glamorous again.
Recently, Caribbean neighbors Trinidad and Tobago were recommended by FIFA to have a normalization committee based on their inept governance structure, and Beckford is worried there might be a repetition in Jamaica.
I can tell you point, but the football is just going nowhere fast. So with this administrative thing, if we don't get things together, you see what happened in Trinidad? Anything can happen because we're almost there in terms of people coming in to tell us exactly what to do because we're not doing it.
The senior Reggae Girls had consecutive World Cup qualification following their success in Mexico last month. But it's a mystery to Beckford how this keeps happening.
Half of the parishes in Jamaica don't play women football at the major league level, at the highest level. So how we going to celebrate 2 qualifications for World Cup women when we don't have basic football in most of the parishes? That is an anomaly we need to get together and get rid of.
Jerome Foster, TVJ Sports.
Thank you, Jerome. Now, Danny, as I understand it, and as many persons understand it, the general secretary of a sporting organization or any entity is like the engine of the organization. Now, in the absence of that, as you understand it, who is masterminding the administrative affairs? Who is leading the charge at the JFF at the moment? What have you gotten in recent times?
I know you, Mr. Darling, so when you're traveling to work and your engine stop, you stop, you may have to take bus.
Yes.
So this is it. I can't even tell you who, well, at this stance now, they have brought in a veteran administrator to help start a cover for the secretariat sort of thing. And as I said, people, I want your listeners know the powers that be with this FIFA and CONCACAF looking at us. I am telling you. See, so all the months now, you don't have, and I can tell you on a personal level, a lot of things happen to me. When it happen to me. So for example, JFF bought some balls. Some parish is getting 15, my parish getting 10.
Before you get to that, who is the veteran administrator they've brought in?
I wouldn't, well, you know, the young wish, I wouldn't call her a young wish or whatever. But Mrs. Rose Brown, I'm going to tell her over the years.
Well, she has been there a long time, huh?
I know, man. I mean, for the updated thing now, for start, I'm managing the secretary.
Oh, okay. So, that's Janice Rose Brown.
Yeah, so, what it does now, as I said, a lot of things go against me. You know, we get a new kit sponsor, every time we get a new kit sponsor, the rest that is left, what is left, you know, them share it up with the parishes and so on. So when we ask the question, how we don't get money all year, they say, some parishes got, some of the staff got, and the rest they destroy.
Yeah, I'll get back to that, Danny, but I want to look at a broader picture, the GenSec, the administrative affairs. As you understand it, I'm quite sure parish FA presidents have asked questions in recent times. How long will this situation persist? What's the status of Dalton Wint? Have you asked about that?
Coming to.
Yes, get to that now, Danny.
So when you throw me under the bus all the while, it's not a year because I don't want to make it look like a personal thing. But, and I am not your one comment of outrage from fellow colleagues that way. The president literally threw the GenSec under the bus. How much are you see that? You ask the question, do you think your GenSec should resign? The man say, I agree. So I have not one outrage from one president to say, what kind of thing that, brother? No, it's so-called business as usual. So with certain things, is the president speaking to the GenSec in terms of getting certain things together. And as it stands, you know the GenSec has sent his thing, what he expect to get before he sign anything.
But things have just grinded to a halt. It's just an eerie quietness. Well, what's happening exactly? What exactly is happening? There's nothing coming forward, nothing being said.
I asked the question and I heard that, well, the prerogative of the president to do so and so and so. And next week, if we don't hear anything, and then the next week, and we will continue. But in the meantime, as I say, you know, I know engine. Oh, you can't overdrive. I'm saying these things now, officer, listen to me. We have been, and we have been in the football and tried to develop. And right now, the feeling that I am feeling right now is the same thing with the same feeling I had when some of the same parish president get up and say they suspend me for nothing. So the work, you go and hear some more shattering things coming out of this parish, because we not going to sit down and we go out and if we come back to our Mount Pleasant, the billions of dollars that have been spent already, and we hope more can be spent, and we have, if you see the Jackson corridor now, where more and more of the big businesses. So when we're done, we will go to every one of those people, restaurants of Jamaica, Nuts Ford and them things, and put some programs to them. Say, listen, you're being here now is a thing where we have partnership with the big Jackson, and you can develop your thing. So this is where we are at. We not sit down. When we sit enough of them and them sit down, and not half of them parish, but them have the Labour parish president. But and it is more in keeping with politics than anything else.
So how often do you speak to Mike Ricketts, the JFF president?
I listen to me up there. I hear that the gentleman don't speak to, and I don't speak to.
Oh, really?
The last time we had the last board meeting, I mean, around to tell you, there's a heated discussion between him, because I was making a presentation, and I was accused by the good gentleman. I am against him, and we is the one that is leaking information to media, and an expletive was, not for the president, even the name did hear it. An expletive came from me. I mean, I tell you these things. The expletive came from him to me. So I'm going to tell you something now. You know, and everybody know. I'm not going to hide and send information to Spencer Dialect and Sports Grill. No. Things like these, when you ask me to share my opinion, because, you know, all I read you, Spencer, you was one of the persons them too, is when I was accused all the while of certain things. And when it's done, Danny Beckford came out smelling like roses, and you guys know, say, me is upfront and fair, me not go on a corner. So I've been accused of leaking information, when some of the information I don't even know, be surprised as you when me hear it from the media.
Right. So as it is now, you and the JFF boss are not on speaking terms.
No, I'm not on speaking terms, bro.
For how long, you say?
It's over from my record, coming over the other Congress in St. Mary, January last year.
Okay.
Right, so from that time, and as far as I'm concerned, I am losing no sleep over it. When I have been sidelined and discriminated against or whatever, I don't lose no sleep over it, because me come to the football, and a year has been a year, decades, and no man can say, somebody, why? When I tell the man, I say, me I invest the money from Central Football. How am I going to invest the money from the little youth that want me to try help? But some of them are me to help send them to school and whatever. So these are some of the things now where we need to go back to basic. Everything that you see JFF has accomplished over from calling 1990 till now. Winning Caribbean Cup 91 to World Cup 98 or so. I am there. We were basic, and so I even know some people they want to listen to me. This guy says something, and they want to listen, and maybe somebody is doing up the same thing. They say, let us adapt that. But
you also expressed some fear recently that what happened in Trinidad and Tobago, where a normalization committee was appointed to take over the administrative affairs of the game, of the sport in that country. You expressed some fear that might reach us here in Jamaica if the National House is not put in order quite soon in terms of the administrative affairs by the local governing body.
So you yourself as a veteran of this thing, if you can see me coming there, and I can tell you, that thing never does come overnight. So the Jamaican thing not to come overnight. We're far down the rabbit hole where that is concerned. So, as I said, we got deadlines from FIFA to me. So this even the other day we had a meeting. We have a deadline now to send back the clean-up thing back to FIFA by the 30th of August. Okay. Because I know once we miss one deadline in service, because FIFA know what is happening and really want to put the statutes, and even the statutes that we had before. People just, the politics just ignore the basic rules around football. So people breach a whole heap of our statute. We just literally breach. And it's no problem. We have confidence in the good thing to people who preach because it is politics. So when me vote for Spencer, Mr. Spencer, you see the World Cup trip, me want to go. Spencer say yes, man, because you're one of my biggest backer. But when you hear from the show now, certain man, I tell Spencer say certain things are run right. Spencer say, man, them give a trip. This is what is happening.
No trip, no per diem, no perks, huh?
Yeah, I understand what I'm saying.
Danny, look here, we're out of time. When you're on, we know you can talk until tomorrow or next week or next month this time, but we're going to have to link you again. It's always been a pleasure speaking with you, Danny. Thanks so much for joining us.
But one thing I do, you get the platform shoes, eh?
Go again?
You get the platform shoes, eh?
Platform shoes?
Yeah.
From who?
It would move from 5'6" to about 5'10", you know?
Yes, Danny. Thanks a lot. I take care, man.
This is what I want from the parish president them. Danny Beckford, big up yourself. Your heart clean. You see the rest of parish association, the president them. Listen, you hear what Danny Beckford said, viewers? Per game, fly out. Listen, I don't have enough time to talk about this, but tonight I will be here breaking those interviews. So make sure you guys smash the like button. Share your thought down in the comment section. What do you guys think about Danny Beckford? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Smash the like on the video, and I'm going to be back later breaking down this interview. A lot has been saying. If you're just joining, make sure you go back and watch the full interview with Danny Beckford. But let's play the rest of the clip and then see you guys later breaking down this with Danny Beckford.
Are done, and support, we look at the success of the Reggae Girlz, who have qualified for back-to-back FIFA World Cup tournaments. Of the over 1,100 persons who took part, the majority are giving credit to the players for showing the commitment needed to succeed.
The Reggae Girlz' success has been a topic of debate ever since they qualified for the FIFA World Cup in 2019. Little credit has been given to the JFF administration, who can now boast of qualifying 2 teams to the global tournament. Incidentally, there was no mention of the JFF when Poster Don Anderson went to the streets to ask Jamaicans the reason why the Reggae Girlz made it to back-to-back World Cups.
42%, the largest single factor by far, said because of the greater commitment from the players. Greater commitment. 12%, the next in line, said there was greater coordination amongst the players. Coordination. 10% said they're more of a team. And 10% said they play with more purpose. So we don't see anything about the management coming in here at all, which is interesting.
But while former national coach Charlie Edwards agrees largely with those findings, he was quick to point out that previous teams were not short on commitment.
These players could be given a lot more commitment, but also you have had more issues with them also. So, you know, it's the two-edged sword, and we have to be careful how we dissect it and look at them. But I do think that the commitment has been good, especially on the pitch. On the pitch performance, commitment, and dedication has been superb, and I think that has contributed to where we are today.
So no credit for the JFF, but 5% paid homage to Ambassador Sedela Mali.
And I think what they're saying is that the management doesn't have anything to do, when I say the management, the leadership of the football program doesn't have anything to do with the success of the girls. It's a lot about themselves, what they are put in there, the fact that they are a close-knit group, and that they have, one of the reasons they said is that they have a mentor in Sedela Marley.
Edwards also agrees that Sedela is the engine of the program.
It's not going to go down well for a lot of JFF people here to say that, but it is the truth. And the fact of the matter is that JFF does play a part in it because they still fund the program somewhat and they still do organize some parts of the program. So we can't neglect them at all. But Sedela has been the driving force behind the program and has brought the professionalism to the program.
And while the girls are celebrating, the Reggae Boyz remain in the wilderness as their only success came 24 years ago.
5% felt it was easier to qualify for women's football. It's what the people said.
That's a no-brainer for Edwards, who believes the percentage could have been greater.
I've always said that if the JFF put a little bit more in the women's program, would have qualified much easier, because the route to qualify for the women are always easier than the men, because remember, the CONCACAF zone is the dominant zone and there are more places, you know, for us to qualify too.
The FIFA Women's World Cup will be hosted by Australia and New Zealand from July 20.
As the dreaded rebuilding process for the Reggae Boyz continue with that tournament in Austria, again it feels like another round of deja vu. Looking towards the next World Cup qualifying cycle, number 7 since France 1998, again we appear to be following the red print to failure, starting with the cliche about exposing local talent, which nothing is wrong with in principle, but bound by history. What will happen in the next several months is that, like clockwork, we will continue to expose local talent until it gets close to the next World Cup qualifying, when the conclusion will be drawn again. Say, yo, these local players not up to scratch. We cannot take us to the World Cup. And then right and true, we will go knocking on some English doors, begging some England-born players to come and play for Jamaica. Some will refuse, some will come when the qualifiers start. Some will be committed, some will not be committed. The team will look disjointed and out of sync again, and we will get knocked out of the World Cup again. And then next cycle, we do it again. Better,